Yes, folks, it's another beautiful day, probably another beautiful evening wherever you are at. This is AJ at KETRON USA. Welcome to the Tones. We are broadcasting today from the United States, and we'd like to welcome all our friends who are overseas, those of you who are here in the United States with us. It's a very, very global world indeed, and we are all fighting this nasty guy called Mr. COVID-19. So before I continue, I'd like to take a moment of silence for all of those who have passed due to this horrible, horrible disease. May their souls and the souls of the faithful departed rest in perfect peace. Amen. So, without much ado, let's get started. First of all, we want to give a big salute to all our friends on Facebook. I'm looking at the comments right now and I see people cheering up. As usual, the family on YouTube are... Let's see, they haven't started having their discussions yet. Let's look at the people on Facebook. Facebook, make some noise. So, oh yeah, we're making some noise already. Okay, beautiful. So we're going to try and do something pretty interesting on this great Thursday afternoon and try to make everything sound good. Sound-wise, how are we doing? Microphone check, keyboard check, both keyboards. I guess we can call this a keyboard for the sake of the demonstration purposes, right? So last week, well, not last week, 2 days ago, actually, we introduced a very unique idea. For those of you who have keyboards such as Yamaha, such as Roland, such as even Casio, okay? Korg or Kurzweil, all these keyboards, you can use the SD90 from KETRON to enhance that keyboard. And it's actually a two-way street because there's some sounds or some elements of the Arranger that you prefer in the Yamaha and others that you prefer on the KETRON side. So based on that video, even though we try to keep it under an hour, we ended up going above, and thank you guys all for staying in tune because we had a lot of questions to answer. Again, this is a mixture of a tutorial and a presentation. So for all the viewers worldwide, yes, we're going to demonstrate for you how you can sound good, how you can sound better. But we also have a lot of people out there who already have these instruments, such as the KETRON SD90, excuse me, and the Yamaha, in this case, the SX-900. And so they're asking questions on how to achieve what I just did for the most part. So we're going to dive in real quick. I think the number one question was, the number one thing on people's minds was, well, how do you do that, AJ? How do you make it sound the way it does? How do you link up these two? How do they communicate and how do they talk? Now, I understand also that I think one of the assumptions I might have done is assume that everybody understands the different terminologies that is involved when it comes to using music. So today I'm going to hold your hand and I'm going to try and take it in baby steps, okay? So for those of you who are already experienced in terms of MIDI, I plead of you to just bear with us while we try to bring everybody else on board, all right? Think about it like a classroom. You got those who understand everything on the first pass, and you have those who we just need to, rub it in a different way, and then they'll get it, and then the whole class goes from A to the next class, right? From 1 to 2. So how do we set this up? Right now, we're having two machines that are communicating. We're getting the best of both worlds. We're getting the best that the Yamaha has to offer, especially when it comes to the lead sounds, the solo voices. It has some very nice synthetic voices, some very nice pads, in my opinion. And they have some of the horns are also equally good as well. Then we have the KETRON, which is well known for the arrangement part of it, the live band aspect of it, okay, the live drums, bass, guitar section, and also the nice, best natural sounds when it comes to like your woodwinds and some of your guitar sounds, okay? So how do you combine these two such that they actually talk? Oh. Now, to do that, I have to go back a step, and so what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about how you actually do the hookup between the two instruments. And let's see here. I'm going to go back to my screen real quick, and I'm going to show you how this is done. All right. So first of all, if you look at your screen right now, you should have a picture of what should be the back of the keyboard. Let's see here if we can get that picture on the screen so everybody can see. I know you have a blank screen right now. Let's bear with us while we get this screen to point in the right direction. Okay. So if you look at your keyboards right now, or look at your screen, sorry, you should have an image of the keyboard in question, which in this case is the Yamaha, right? So what are we doing? We're using what we call a MIDI cable. Now, I know that MIDI might sound like a language that many people don't understand, so let us break it down. Imagine a MIDI cable as a pipe, okay, for the sake of this illustration. It's a big pipe, and inside that pipe, you have 16 tubes, okay? That's what we call MIDI channels. So I can pass various instruments and various information inside those 16 tubes, all right? So just think about it as one big pipe that is having 16 tubes, okay? So on the back of the Yamaha, you want to connect a MIDI cable where it says MIDI out. And this could be also true for all your keyboards, be that Yamaha, Roland, Casio, Korg. You want to connect a MIDI cable, okay, such as what you're seeing right now on your screens. And that's coming out of the back of the Yamaha keyboard, right? So whatever keyboard you have, you want to go MIDI out. Imagine you have like a little, like a tap. You want to open that tap and the water is flowing out. It has to go out from somewhere and it has to go in somewhere. So the information is going, in this case, out of the Yamaha, where through the MIDI output section. And where is that going into? If you look at the KETRON, you're coming into where it says MIDI in. Now, the KETRON is a little bit more complex when it comes to what it can do. So if you notice, you have 4 MIDI ports out there, right? Most keyboards have just 2, in and out. The KETRON has 4. It has 2 MIDI in ports, a through port and out. We're going to go into where it says MIDI in. And specifically, we're going to go into where it says MIDI in number 2, right? The MIDI into keyboard. So that's where the other end of that cable is going to go into. And that's why I chose an orange cable, because I wanted to make sure that you can actually see that cable being different from all the other cables that we have out there. So you're going to go out of the MIDI cable, and let me just get a closer view so you can see what I'm talking about. It goes into the KETRON where it says into keyboard, okay? So that really is your physical connection. Everything else remains the same. You have these 2 cables right here, which are your sound that comes out of the KETRON, and that's going into your mixer. And you have the other 2 cables in the bottom, which is your sound that's going into your mixer as well. So both instruments are connected to your mixer or to your stage device, right? But again, the magic word is that MIDI cable, right? Again, please, for the folks watching and with experience, just bear with us while we get everybody up to speed and we start talking about what's the real substance matter for today. So that's what it looks like on the back. Now, on the panel itself, those of you with this particular keyboard, you would go and you press the menu button, which will take you into this particular screen. Now, if you notice, the Yamaha has 2 menu pages, menu 1 and menu 2. So menu 1 has most of your basic stuff, and menu 2 has most of your in-depth stuff that you use once in a while, set and leave, right? Which is pretty much standard. So you're going to touch the menu number 2 icon on the screen, or you can press the menu button for the second time, and that will take you to this page right here, right? Now, notice there are 2 things we want to concern ourselves. Make sure you're in menu number 2, okay? And if you look at the left side of the screen, you have the MIDI button. So you want to touch MIDI and go into the MIDI section of your keyboard. Now, in the MIDI section, you have a whole bunch of things on the left side. MIDI transmit, MIDI receive. Of course, transmission, what is going out of the keyboard. Receive, what's coming into the keyboard. In this case, we're using the MIDI transmit because we're sending stuff out of this keyboard, out of the Yamaha. And so we're going to touch the transmit icon, right? What are we concerned with here? The left and upper. That's really all. Everything else should be off. So when you go to your screen, you want to turn off the right 2, turn off the right 3. Remember, on the Yamaha, you have independent voices which you can layer off, and you can send them to different channels. So again, in the beginning, I told you, think about the big, huge MIDI pipe, and we have 16 little tubes inside. We want to send the left, which is what we're playing on our left side, the chord section, what we're playing on our left, we're going to send that out of MIDI channel number 2 in this example, okay? And then upper is everything you're playing on the right-hand side of your keyboard. We want to send that out of MIDI channel 1. Now, take note of these numbers because they're very important. You have to know what tube you're sending what information through, because on the other side of the thing, you have to match those numbers. So you have to match that in the KETRON, right? So, are we good so far? Is everybody on page? Let's look at the comments, make sure everything is fine, that we're explaining this stuff and it's not gibberish. I see some people, especially my folks on YouTube, you crack me up a lot of times. All right. So I think we're all on the same page so far. No, we haven't lost anyone just yet. And again, for those of you who are going to watch this later, you can always rewind and come to this part, right? So this has to be done because if you don't do this, both machines do not communicate properly. So we got the left set on channel 1. We have the upper set on channel 2. And just so you know, in Yamaha language, upper, which is they refer to the voices and everything played on the right-hand side of the split point as upper. In KETRON language, they refer to that as right, okay? So they're interchangeable. For Yamaha, it's called upper. For KETRON, it's called right. Take note of that. So we have the left side of the chords. If you're playing an accordion MIDI, it's going to be the same thing. Left side, you're playing your chords. Channel 2, in this example. Right side, channel 1. So we're going to use the channel 2 and 1 for this example. Now, very important also, if you want to test it out on the Yamaha, you look at the bottom, it says transmit monitor. So to make sure that everything is working fine from the Yamaha end, you want to play a sound to the right of the split point, and the number 1 LED there should be flickering, right? Because it's coming out of channel 1. And if you play any keys to the left of your split, channel 2 should be flickering. That's your test right there. You do that and you're home free. So Yamaha is good. Now, the next thing we want to do is the synchronization, right? We want to make sure that we're not playing different tempos all over the place. So we're going to go into our system tab on the left. That's the first thing you're going to do. And the second thing is going to turn on the transmission clock. So, like I said before, in a choir, in any choir, you have a conductor. You only have one conductor. So you want to be able to tell the unit what to expect. In other words, I want this conductor to be the guy who's conducting or giving a time signature to all the devices, the Yamaha and the KETRON as well. So on the KETRON side, we're going to go into this page right here. And I think what I can actually do, right, is I can actually do something here a little bit different. I can just give me 1 second, 1 second. Okay, I just noticed that the screen that you guys were looking on was the main pick. It wasn't switching along with me, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to do this again later on. Now I'm going to switch over back to the KETRON side because we did the Yamaha side. Let's go over to the KETRON screen, right? So on the KETRON screen, you're going to look at something like this. Remember, we set up the Yamaha to be able to send information out, right? So now we want to set up the KETRON to be able to receive information, to get information coming in. So what do we do? Again, remember what we said before about the channels. So on the KETRON, I'm going to go into menu. I'm going to press menu, and I'm going to have this screen that looks like this. Beautiful screen, right? So I'm going to go into the MIDI. I'm going to touch the MIDI tab, and that takes me into this particular screen. Now, if you notice that on the top there, you have 9 presets, standard, computer, player 1. We want to worry about the keyboard style and voicing, and any of those can be pre-programmed and pre-arranged. So we're going to pick that one, and you're going to go in and you're going to touch the icon on the bottom that says Arranger Keyboard, right? And it takes you to this page. Now remember, when you're in this page, the default comes in on transmit, which is the I don't know why most manufacturers do that. They always go with the transmit first, right? You want to touch the RX, which is receive, because you want to set the MIDI receive channels in the KETRON. Now, remember the numbers we spoke about in the Yamaha, the 1 and the 2, right? Remember, on the right-hand side, we said we're going to send stuff out, which is our lead voices, which is called right on the Yamaha, sorry, upper. On the KETRON, it's called right. So in that first box that says right in the middle of the screen, you're going to put the number 1 in there. So you touch the box, and then you turn the dial and put the 1, okay? And the left, which is your arranger, your chords, you touch that box, and you put a 2 in there, okay? And you're pretty much, done on this particular page. Now, I'm going to press the exit button and get back out. And where it says the clock in, I'm going to turn on the clock in because I want the KETRON to be able to receive a clock signal from the Yamaha, because the Yamaha in this case is what's going to be driving the KETRON. And when I'm done with that, I'm going to hit the save button. And of course, I want to save this setup because I want this setup to be there each time I turn the unit on, right? So that's pretty much it in terms of your setup. And once you do that, you press the menu button and you return to your normal style page where you're actually playing something, right? So once you have that going on, that now allows you or gives you the capability to be able to go back and forth in terms of playing your voices, right? So I can now play a voice right here on the Yamaha. I can turn down the voices here. What you're listening to right now is a steel drum, which is coming from the Yamaha keyboard. Now, what if I don't want to hear the Yamaha keyboard? Well, the good thing about this particular keyboard is I also have 2 buttons here which are programmable, right? So in this case, I've programmed this button to control this right-hand voice. I turn this down, okay? So you can hear this is the right-hand voice coming from here. On the KETRON, it's a little bit simpler. I have the sliders. I have right and I have second voice. So if I want to hear this this module, all I have to do is take that voice up. If I want to hear only this, I can turn down the Yamaha, right? Because of what? This is happening because of the MIDI cable, MIDI channel 1. Whatever I'm playing here is going out of that MIDI tube, that little MIDI channel 1, and going into this guy, right-hand channel 1, and telling it what to play. No, not what to play, but how to play the notes. I can change the sounds as I want on here. So right now I'm listening to the KETRON, and I can add the Yamaha. I can add another voice here too. Okay, so also on this one, I'm going to do something I didn't do before because I want this second voice has its own MIDI channel. Let's just make sure that that's also set on channel 1, right? We receive, and I believe we didn't do that. Right, so the lower voices, I want to use right here. There we go. Second voice, it was off. I want that to be on channel 1 as well. So that way, the second voice and this right-hand voice can be controlled on the same channel. Okay, so this is very, very important. I want to put my vocalizer on channel 2 because I want that to respond to my left hand when I'm playing the chords, okay? So this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to hit the save button, and I'm going to go ahead and save this so that next time when I turn the keyboard on, it will remember that particular setting, right? So back to what I was doing on the top now. So pretty much I'm playing here on the bottom with the Yamaha, and I now have the KETRON voices up here. So what did I do? I went and picked a particular rhythm, right? And for those of you who asked the question, well, how is this practical when I'm playing live? How is this practical when I'm playing at the show? Because, AJ, I don't have time to do all of this. So let's break this down. Everything I've been doing so far up till now and a little bit further is what you do at home, what you do in the studio, okay? So I'm setting this machine up. So I want to pick a rhythm from here. For an example, I'm going to pick the bachata, and I'm going to listen to that rhythm. This is what it sounds like on the KETRON. into the Latin section and I picked that bachata. It's called pop bachata right there. You might not be able to see that too well with the screen. Just trust me on this one. Pop bachata, okay? And how does that sound on the Yamaha itself? This is what it sounds like with the drums. Oh, what did I do? Let's see, what did I turn down or turn up? I think I may have a channel muted. There we go. Okay, I know what I did. All right. So I remember, like I told you before, this button has been assigned to the rhythm section, which is my left hand on my chords, and this one is assigned to my right. So let's go back in there again. So this is what the bachata sounds like on the Yamaha PSR SX. Okay, I'm gonna load that in. I'm gonna make sure that everything is turned on in this case, just so I can be able to clearly demonstrate this particular style, okay? This is what the rhythm sounds like on the Yamaha. Okay, so again, this is what I'm doing at home or in my studio. I'm setting up this song, and this is going to be called, Jamaica Farewell, right? Jamaica Farewell. So on this board, I'm going to use that particular style. In this particular case, I do not want to use the rhythm on this keyboard, okay? That's what it sounds like coming out of here. But when I come up here, the similar rhythm sounds like this. So in my ears, this one sounds more, it's more live, of course, because it's a live sample, right? It's a live audio drum. So I want to combine this and this, but I don't want to have two drummers playing at the same time. So for this particular scenario, I am going to turn off the rhythm 1 and rhythm 2 and also the bass on the Yamaha. I want to hear the chord section. I want to hear this from the Yamaha. That sounds nice, okay? But I want to hear this from the KETRON. So that's how I play, I'm using the best of both worlds, right? So let me just make sure I check that MIDI channel again to make sure that it is actually where I wanted it to be. Where was I on receive? No, we wanted the left to be on 2. I wonder how that changed. The left should be on 2 and the right to be on 1. We don't care about the global for now. And we're going to hit, yes, I think we're now good, and save. Okay, so now when I play this, that's responding to me. This is again why you don't do this on stage, right? You do this at home and set everything up correctly. So now I'm hearing the drums coming out of here, bass coming out of here, some of the accompaniment, but I like that sweet sound coming out of the Yamaha. Remember, we had this, okay? And I'm going to have this too. Notice they're all in time. They're all in time. And of course, all I'm doing right now is on my left hand, I'm playing the chords. And both of the machines are now playing together. Okay? Both of the machines are playing. So this is really something very interesting and unique because if you notice, it takes a while to set it up. But once I've set it up once, I'm done with it. That's all. I don't have to mess with the MIDI and everything again. So what do I do now? I like what I heard. I like the sound. I like the way it is. I want to have this same setup when I get to my stage or if I get to church, if you're playing worship or praise, right? I want to have the same exact setup. But I don't want to have to be doing all this in front of the priest or in front of my audience. So I have to do what they call save a registration or save a song setup, right? So I'm going to save everything I've done so far onto both of the machines because remember, they're two independent machines, right? So in this case, I'm going to come here and I'm going to hit save. I'm going to go to registration, save as, and in this case, I call it down the way, but I can call it whatever, Jamaican farewell, hit enter. I mean, I've done it before, so I'm not going to do it again, and hit save. In the case of the Yamaha, it's a little bit more interesting. I'm going to press the memorization button here, and I'm going to save it into location number 7. Now, one of the good features on the Yamaha is you can actually have 8 different setups, right, for one song, because you can have one song that has 8 setups. For the case of my demonstrations right now, I'm using every registration for different songs, right? So now I'm done with the part at home, okay? When I get to the show, I am now at the show. I have set up my keyboard. I've gone and combed my hair and looking so nice and sharp. The show is about to start. What do? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to whatever. We talk, we do what we do best, right? And then now it's time for us to actually go ahead and perform. So when you're on the stage, you're not typing stuff back and forth. No, when you're on the stage, you're now using registrations. On the Yamaha, you're using this, the panel buttons over here, okay, on the top right here. And on the KETRON, you're using the registration button there. So all I have to do when I'm playing live is to go and touch that button. I have all my song setups here. Again, these are not MIDI files, not WAV files, not MP3. These are song setups. If I turn this wheel, I'm going to see down the way right there. That's what I just did, right? Down the way. I just touch it. Now, when you touch it, instantly, this instrument is going to load up all the settings for down the way. How you did the volumes, what tracks were on, what tracks were off. So I just did one touch and it's ready to go. On the Yamaha, down the way was stored in number 7. I'm just going to touch number 7 and this instrument is ready to go. As you can see, the drum tracks all went out, right, from there. So now all I do is really start to play. So you see what I just did, right? That was just for that one particular song. Now, guess what? Right now, before my audience, I want to play another song. I'm just going to go in here and pick up what registration I did or what song setting, right? I did one here way back, right? And this is a song, I think it comes from the Joseph play. You see my screen? It just loaded up. So this machine is already set to play way back. Now, what about the Yamaha? How do I load up the setting here to play way back? That was stored in registration number 6. All I have to do is touch number 6. Everything I did at home or in the studio set up for this particular song has just been loaded here. Same like on this case. So I just load the setting here, load the setting here. It's one button push, one click there, one click here, and I'm ready to play instantly. Okay, here we go. Centuries ago, Not long after the Bible began, Jacob lived in the land of Eden, a fine example of a family man. Jacob and Sons. So, you see what we just did, right? So I haven't touched anything. These are my fingers right here. And we have just demonstrated for you how we went into that particular song. So how would I go now into another song, okay? In this case, I want to do like an African Caribbean song. I'm just going to touch here Mado, which is in that registration. As soon as I touch that, the song setting, which I did at home to load everything for that particular song has loaded in here, right? In number 8 right there, okay? On the PSR, the same song setup, okay, for this keyboard was stored in that registration location. So I'm just going to go over here, touch number 8, and it is instantly ready to go, right? So now if I get to my screen, I have this particular setup. And this one is also done. You can see again, in this case, I prefer to use the drums, the live guitar, bass coming out of here, but I want to use the sounds coming out of here and also coming out of here, right? If I don't want these sounds, all I simply do is bring this down or so now all I have to do is start playing, right? Like this. So all I'm doing now, I'm playing the lead voices, controlled by the Yamaha, and I'm playing on the top, on this my bad boy here. I know some guys are saying play on, play on, play on, but no, we can't play too many songs now. We're just going to go through again to demonstrate. We're going to have a time on the show when we're just going to be playing music, okay? Playing back and forth. I know some comments are coming in on the other page that, hey, we want more, more, more. But I'm trying to illustrate again what this baby can do, right? In the hands of anybody, pretty much for the most part. Professionals or even beginners. It all depends on how you actually go ahead and do the setup. So I think I've pretty much done a demonstration in terms of how to set up the machine, okay? The physical setup behind here when you're using the MIDI cable, okay? I've also spoken about how to set up this machine to receive the confirmation and to receive the information, from your keyboard, your existing keyboard. And I've also spoken about how to set up this keyboard in particular to transmit or to send out that information into the module. So once you have that done, for the most part, everything else is, pretty easy. Of course, it's easier said than done, right? But now it's just about getting to be comfortable with using the module for what you want to do and being able to use the keyboard for what you want to do. So I'm going to give you another example here. Let's say, for an example, I want to go in here and I want to do a big band style. I have a big band setting up here. I just touch that and load it up. If you notice, I'm not going into the styles and going into the details. No, because that was already done when I was at home or in my studio, okay? Now I am before you, I am presenting or I am performing, correct? And so all I'm doing is recalling those particular settings. So I just recalled the setting on the KETRON. I'm gonna go ahead and recall the setting on the Yamaha, which is gonna match the KETRON as well. And I have this particular rhythm. Now in this particular case, I prefer the drums and the bass line coming out of the Yamaha. And so I have that pretty much all turned on, as you can see on the screen, or as you should be seeing on the screen. Sorry about that. So this is what we have right now. You can see all the tracks are on the Yamaha. And I kind of stay away from using the word tracks because when you do that, people think you're playing a sequence. No, there's no sequencing. You're actually controlling, let's say, partial sequences in real time. So if I just hit the button start and I don't do anything, this is what I'm going to hear, right? So I think I picked the wrong registration, but that's fine. I picked the salsa, okay? I can do like a Guantanamera or something, but in this case, I wanted to do a big band. That was in number 3, correct? So now I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to hit the introduction, okay? So when I play a chord, I want this machine to start playing for me, and here we go. All I'm doing again, playing chords. Now let's bring in the KETRON. I can take off the drums on the Yamaha. Now I got the KETRON playing. And again, what am I doing? Just playing some lazy chords. Turn off the Yamaha horns, KETRON. KETRON drums, KETRON live guitar, Yamaha backing. Yamaha lead, KETRON lead. Let me go back to the Yamaha lead. I'm going to bring up the volume of the Yamaha lead voice right there. Take down the KETRON. Okay, so you see what I just did there. So that really is what this show was about for today, for the most part. How do you set this up? How do you set that up? How do you prepare at home or in your studio? And of course, when you're on stage, as we are right now, how do you deliver? So to answer those questions that we, had been asked before, but how is this practically possible in a setting where you're in the church or you are performing live in a club or a piano lounge, for an example, or as the French would say, circuit? How do you, how is it beneficial? You have to set everything up and set every song the way you want. And when you come into registration, that's where the power is. I can go in and just hit whichever one I want and touch it, and that's it. Now, I noticed on this machine, I have 4 different registration banks. Each of them can store 1,024 song settings. So you have a total of 1,024 times 4, okay? If I go to bank 1, let me see if I can get you guys to see my my screen there for a second. So you notice that I'm in bank 1. I have all these songs pretty much set up, okay? So, Lord, I lift your name on high, shout to the Lord, be exalted. Now, some of these I can't do too much of them because last time I think it was YouTube was giving us some copyright copyright warnings about playing other people's songs, right? So this is a good example right here. This one I don't think I'll get a warning for, right? This is like an African traditional rhythm for the most part. Now I'm going to, just not, to demonstrate this so you can hear what exactly we're talking about. So in this particular rhythm, I have that right there. Okay, so that's what I have coming out of the KETRON for the most part. Now on the Yamaha, I'm just going to go with the voicing here. I'm going to pick freestyle. It's going to be under the category, I believe it's called movie and show. Yes, movie and show, and free play ethereal voices. I'm going to pick that because this is very, very nice. Okay. Now for my lead voice, however, I'm going to do some nice changes. I want to go in here to the Yamaha, or let me see. Maybe I want to keep the lead voice as it is right now. Okay, and then here on the KETRON, I'm going to use the vibraphone, which is what it was set up to do. Okay, so have that in there. Beautiful. So now I'm going into the Yamaha, and I think I should be ready to go with the performance, right? Again. Now all I have to do is start my beat, start my rhythm, and play along like this. Now remember, on the Yamaha keyboard per se, right? I'm not really looking at doing anything fancy here. I want to use the Yamaha keyboard to be able to add on to that particular rhythm, right? So I want to be able to use this guy to add on to this one in this particular case. So I'm going to start off with something like this. So just to give you an idea, if I turn off the KETRON, this is what the Yamaha is doing. I'm just playing the chords on the Yamaha, the KETRON. I want to start this off with the KETRON voice. I'm going to bring up that voice over here and then bring down the Yamaha. Yamaha now. keyboards are crying, right? That's what it feels like. So this is what you see as a combination of, a very, very powerful combination indeed. Being able to use different rhythms and different parts coming out of here, okay? And also being able to combine that with, again, what you have coming out of here and going back and forth. Now, remember, I said that, you saw me going in and muting tracks. These two buttons here can be programmed for that, so that when you just turn the knob, you actually instantly go ahead and mute the tracks in there. On the KETRON, you can mute internally, or I basically just move the slider down, because I have sliders right there, which I don't have here, right? So here's on the screen, which is a little bit more difficult. Here, I can just take out the drums, take out the bass. So if I'm playing that particular rhythm over there, as I was doing, I can just take out the bass. Let's say I have a bass player in church, I can just take out the bass and he can just vamp on this, I'm playing the chords. If a drummer shows up, I can bring the bass in, take out the drums, okay? Then when the girls are not there for the choir, I bring them in on the Yamaha. Bring back the drummer. Right there, I have access to all my tracks. Okay, so that in a nutshell is how this actually works. Let me now go back and see if I can answer some questions before you guys all say I abandoned you, right? I got that from last time. Let's see. Welcome back. How is the sound? Yes, we have that. Dave. Yes, carry on. We're looking at Facebook right now. Please describe the signal chain. Boy, yes, Dave, I did that. I hope I did that to your satisfaction. Let's see here. Marcus Styles and the hip hop. Okay, Marcus is asking for hip hop. A lot of the young guys are looking for like the hip hop and dance, right? Okay, so we're gonna do some of that, dance stuff or techno stuff. And I think, again, like I was saying, depending on what board you have, some styles are better or some rhythms are better in one board than they are on another, right? So when we go over here to our YouTube guys who are usually quarreling, today they're not. That's interesting. They must either be paying attention or asleep. We're all alive. Oh, we are all alive. Okay. Picture of the KETRON. I saw this, the only pic. Yeah. Feed us audio. Call me. Okay. You see, the guys on YouTube are having their own internal discussion there. Call me. I'll set you up. This is what we do for this. Yes, 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 yes. And let's see if we're on the National Telegraph. Our viewers over there want to say welcome to all of you. Again, program tones, all right? And for this one, we were actually talking predominantly about how to set this up, how to use this for the most part, right? So in the subsequent shows, we're going to be zooming in now on actual performances, right? So for an example, playing, particular songs that people may request, or again, showing you how you can actually use this in a live setting per se. So let's see here. We have the folks on the National Telegraph page, National Telegraph for Africa. Yeah, let's see. They're also having some discussions here. Everything sounds good for them. Yes, great, 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 comrade. Thank you, and thank you too. Watching from the UK. Wow, across the pond. Don't worry, we shall all see each other very soon once we get over this whole nasty guy called Corona 19.07 at this point, because he keeps on changing, right? He's always morphing all over the place. How do I know it's a he? Okay, she keeps on changing. I don't know. What do you want to call it? He, she, it's, whatever. We shall overcome it, right? Right. All right. Just going through some of the other comments as well. Again, it's nice to take a pause and see what people are saying. People are requesting some songs. Yes, we're going to do a couple of tunes before we sign out for the day. Someone wants a tutorial. Yikes. Okay. We're going to actually put out some sort of a tutorial or a manual. I think that, a lot of people say that what do you call it? The way that manuals are written these days from factories, it's almost like it's written by engineers for engineers. So we're going to break that down for you guys as well. Oh, I see Jess over there. Hi to you too. You're on multiple platforms, right? Maybe not. I don't know. You're all over the place. Okay. We have Adele. Adele just came in on the other side of the pond as well. Adele Clarice, that's our vocalist for the K Vibes band. If you go to YouTube and you just type in K space Vibes, VIBES space band, K Vibes band, you're going to see Adele, who's our lead vocalist, shining away like crazy. We're going to figure out also how to do a live show between Adele and I, figure out how to synchronize and do this with Zoom. And, we're trying to use technology to its best. Of course, we would have to compensate for delays and what have you, but I believe we can do it. Everything is possible once you have your mind set onto something, right? So let's go back again to the guys over here on this side. The questions, a lot of questions coming from the guys in the UK. You guys actually stayed up to support and watch this. Wow. I feel so blessed. Thank you all so much. This is good. Yeah, music, as Bob Marley said, music is an international language, and when it hits you, you feel no pain. That's what he said. Those were his own words. One good thing about music, when it hits, you feel no pain. All right. There was a request from Marcus, I believe, when it comes to some of the dance styles and so on. Now, when it comes to some of those modern, again, like I was saying before, you have to look at this in terms of what is best for you, right? There is no, and let me put this very clearly. Many other professionals might also support me when I say this. There is no one size fits all when it comes to musical equipment. There is no the best keyboard. Doesn't exist. Depends on what you are doing. It depends on what you are trying to accomplish. It is also true that a lot of times our audience is not aware, nor do they care about the equipment that we use, right? So a lot of times when you're playing music, it's for yourself, right? But that's like saying a DJ is playing for himself. When you're a DJ, you're performing for your audience, right? For the people. In the case of musical equipment, you want to have something that makes you happy. Believe it or not, your audience are aware of that, right? It's not just getting up here and playing, but you have to be happy with your tool. If you're happy playing a Casio, you're happy playing a Casio. If you're happy playing a Yamaha, you're happy playing a Yamaha. If you're happy playing a KETRON, you're happy playing a KETRON. Now, there are some things which are subjective, that is true, but there are also some things which are, facts based on records and based on what we know. When it comes to dance, when it comes to making people dance and making people feel the beat, right? That's, in my opinion, where the KETRON equipment excels, right? When you come to a place and you want to make people, forget about their troubles and just jump and touch the rooftop, that's where the KETRON shines. And I say that because of the way the rhythms and the styles are designed inside the KETRON unit and how they sound, right? From my perspective, there's very nice, beautiful lead voices on this equipment right here, which is in this case the Yamaha PSR SX-900. Very nice lead voices, nice choir voices, nice tones. And that, in my opinion, enhances this instrument when it comes to that particular genre of tune, when it comes to the dancing. Now, when it comes to stuff like the big bands and stuff, the tables, in my opinion, are switched or are turned. This has a very, very nice balanced section when it comes to big bands. It also has a category called movie and show and entertainer, which are very, very nice theater styles, which are totally not even existent in this particular board. You can now program them, and we have a video on that. It's about a one hour tutorial on how to program your own styles on the KETRON. But out of the box, you do not have that. Now, thanks to the AjamSonic package, which we do design, you can actually install that into the keyboard. Right now, we have an AjamSonic package. We also have Gold Package 1, 2, 3, and 4, which allows you to add extra stuff in here, especially when it comes to the Caribbean stuff, when it comes to the African stuff, which may otherwise be missing. So if you're looking for an SD90, make sure it has the AjamSonic logo on it to get that vibe, to get that feeling that we put in here for you, so you don't have to, right? Now, having said that, we're also taking you now, and this was going to be our surprise announcement, to the Yamaha, where we are also working on a similar package for the Yamaha keyboards, the AjamSonic. KETRON USA is working in collaboration with our good old buddy Lazar Studios, which is in the DC, Washington area. And we're trying to produce similar rhythms and similar styles for these keyboards. Now, especially for the keyboards that have audio expansion, right? So just to give you a taste of what's coming or what is to come, all right, I'm going to go into the Yamaha and I'm going to go in here to what we've been working on so far, a couple of styles right here. Now, just listen to the authenticity of how this style sounds. Now, for those of you who already have this keyboard, you're going to turn around and say, but how come my keyboard doesn't sound like that? I have a Yamaha keyboard. Well, you don't have the AjamSonic package installed in that keyboard, right? So the whole idea is to be able to have the AjamSonic package installed in various keyboards. We started off with KETRON. Now we're moving on to Yamaha. And of course, what more than to actually work with people that actually have an idea of how those particular styles sound like. So in this one, I'm going to just go ahead and pick, there's a Kizomba style here. There's a Zouk session style. I'm going to pick that one. And just to make sure that you understand that this is coming from here and has nothing to do with the KETRON, even though it's going to sound like it, I'm going to turn off the master volume on the KETRON. So if I hit start, nothing is coming. You can see the lights going, right? But there's no sound coming out. Otherwise, it will do like this. All right, that's the KETRON, right? So I'm going to bring that tuff off. So there's nothing coming out of this guy. Everything I'm going to play right now is coming out of the Yamaha keyboard, right? Just listen to the live drums right here. That's a live Zouk beat that we're working on coming out of the Yamaha keyboard. Okay, so now I can just go all over the place. Here we go. Just playing the chords. Voice on the KETRON, just the voice. I don't want the rhythm. I don't want the rhythm here. I want to use just the sounds on the KETRON right now. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to pick a nice, let's see, pad. Okay, and add that. The style is coming from the Yamaha keyboard. Speed it up a little bit. Okay, you want to do like a medley. Here we go. So why did I do that? Just to show you that this also can be enhanced, right? Again, you have to trust the folks at Ajam Inc., at AjamSonic, to work that for you. But this is coming. We're going to be working with a lot of compa styles, Zouk Africans, and some of the missing styles that we, again, like I said, no keyboard is perfect, no keyboard does it all, but there are ways for you to be able to enhance one keyboard to do many things, especially with the audio technology. This is just beautiful. That is a Yamaha, right? That's what we were able to do to a Yamaha keyboard. We've been able to add audio in it, okay? Not the feature, but the actual content of that to be able to play these styles. So very, very soon on our website, www.ketronamerica.com or www.ajamsonic.com, we're going to have these styles available. Again, this is the AjamSonic style library for the Yamaha series of keyboards. And because we're going to be working with different brands, they're going to have different content as well. The content for the Genos, for the SX-900, 900, 700, and what have you, okay? And in the cases where your keyboard does not have audio, we're just going to work with the best MIDI elements within that particular keyboard. So that is something that is coming that we figured we should talk about and announce, okay? So again, I'm going to leave you with one number if we don't have any more questions. Looking back at the folks again on Facebook, I think as usual, we've gone above the 1 hour limit. But it's hard to keep a show at the 1 hour when you have so many interesting ladies and gentlemen who are watching and asking for more and more and more and more stuff, right? So I see some technical questions and people asking about the camera work and the artwork. How are we doing this and how are we doing that? Well, let's discuss the secret a little bit, right? So we have a little mouse and we're using that to, go up and down in terms of navigation, switching back and forth between the screens. We also have here to my left, nice little board, a nice little keyboard, right? If I go up this way, you can actually see what I'm doing over here with this guy right here. Okay, so that's my little keyboard. I'm just using two buttons here to go up and down to switch to different scenes. Now, in the first video, I didn't even have to use this. I used the foot pedal, right? So I was able to rig one of the KETRON pedals and program the pedal for up and down so I can go up and down on these scenes. But then I noticed that when I did one or two songs, I kind of thought that was a sustain pedal, and you know what happened after that, right? So this time I figured I'll put the board over here to my side and just be able to go up and down like this and be talking to you guys at the same time and just switching back and forth with the screens, right? So thanks to technology, and also I think thanks to the idea of being able to share, right? So what I have in my heart, I give out to you guys. What you have in your heart, I'm just hoping and expecting that you give out to your neighbors as well, right? It's all, we're all in this together. And if anything else, I think that the whole COVID-19 has actually taught us that we need to work together in this world of ours. I mean, we're not going anywhere, right? No, none of us is going to Mars anytime soon. So we need to work on this together to be able to make this a better world. And for those of us who do this as a hobby, for example, or even those of you who are professional musicians and artists, okay, or playing for art, playing in places of praise and worship. Again, keep the heart of giving. Keep the heart of giving. Give, give, give. When you give one, you get two back. But don't give because you want to get back. Give because you want to give. Give because it's the right thing to do. Okay? So this is AJ signing out. Again, the next show, we're going to answer more of the questions that we missed on this show. All right? For those of you on Telegraph, we're going to try and Telegraph Africa, tones is going to be regular. All right? Thanks to the team at Telegraph, we're going to be able to use that platform as well to broadcast most of our events. And I think it's about time that we actually got some positive energy, right? Isn't it nice to get out of the whole struggle issue, get out of the whole COVID issue, and just listen to music? And I think I'm going to start something new as well in terms of interacting with other artists and other musicians so that we can actually be able to build this platform. Again, I'd like to thank the crew members at Telegraph for giving us that opportunity. And for those of you on KETRON USA, again, the normal people back there, thank you all. Donnie, Dave in particular too. Dave, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for that call. It actually does help when you call in to help. Linda, I just saw your question right now too. Launchpad and vocalizer. Yes, I can discuss the vocalizer. I don't have a microphone plugged into the harmonizer here. So the next show, okay, Linda, next show, I shall talk about the harmony. As a matter of fact, it's funny because I did set up the channels here to work with the harmonizer, but I just didn't get that far for today. But let me try and touch up on the Launchpad a little bit again, and that will be the last part we're going to do, right? Adele, I like your hairdo. Is that you really for true, or that's an emoji? Okay, I know. Yeah, you're right. Lazar, thank you too. Lazar, that's a phenomenal programmer that I'm working with. I think my style day programming is, I hope, gone, or hopefully gone soon, so I can focus on my people like yourself, and I can work with other people who I can collaborate with in terms of programming styles and rhythms. It's very, very tedious for those of you who know to be able to program rhythms, especially when you're dealing with ethnic stuff, or you're dealing with African stuff where the timing is all over the place, or you're dealing with Caribbean stuff, right? It's nothing like just playing a 4/4, for example. So, Linda, let's look at the Launchpad. So, we discussed this about a week ago, but we didn't go into that much detail. So a Launchpad, what is a Launchpad? A Launchpad is like a merger between a sequencer together with a sampler and a style engine. And what it does is it allows you to be able to bring in different elements of both. So if I want to create something, okay, let's say I want to create a particular, let me start with a new one. Let me just make a new pad, all right? Let's go here and let me show you my screen. Do I want to proceed? Yes, I do. And again, this is just going to be a fraction. Oops, where's my mouse at? This is just going to be a fraction of what this is all about, right? A fraction of the Launchpad. But it's just to give you an idea so you know what you can do with this device. So this is my Launchpad. Let me start from scratch. Let me get out of here, get out of the screen. All right, so you touch the Launchpad button, it gives you this. It's a default pad that loads up that has all this stuff in. You're gonna touch new, and you wanna proceed, yes. So I have a clean slate. So look at the Launchpad like your scratch board, right? For music, so those of you who are producing music from scratch, or you wanna use existing musical elements. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 12 pads in front of me in that scene. If I go to scene 2, I have 12 more pads, 12 more. Now, I can put anything in those pads. I can put drums in those pads. I can put bass line in those pads. I can put audio elements in those pads. So for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to go to pad number 1. I'm going to touch and hold that. And you see it went into edit mode, right? So what I did, just so I can show you my screen here so you can see what I did, I just pressed and held this guy, and it went into that mode. Now let's go back to the screen so you can see exactly what's going on, right? Now I want to add a drum in that particular pad, okay? If I hit start, like right now you see it's going, the bar is counting, there's nothing in that pad, it's empty. I'm going to touch audio drum, okay? And I'm going to go into the different categories here. I'm going to go into ballad and pop, and I'm going to go into 16 ballad number 2, right? So right now I just added a drum, audio drum in that pad. If I press the start button, I can hear that drum, okay? That sounds a little bit too fast for me, so I'm going to slow it down to, let's say, 100. Again, the power of the audio drum, okay? I can do a lot of things with it. So I have a drum in that pad. If I play chords, I don't hear anything. All I have in there is a drum. What if I want to add a bass line? Just a bass line in the pad. Okay, I'm going to go to the next track. Right there, I touch it and hold it for 2 seconds. And on the right-hand side, you see it says bass, right? It says bass, piano, groove. I want to add a bass line. Normally, you have drums and you have bass. I'm going to touch the bass track, and it's going to ask me what category of bass do you want to put in here. I'm going to go into the R&B, into the funk category, and I'm going to pick funk number 6. right? Now if I press a chord, that's the bass line. So all I did was press a chord. If I change the chord, oh, gotta have the key start on. Where's that at? There you go. See that? That's my human bass player playing right there with me. Now I can go up and I can add another track in there. Okay, I'm gonna touch and hold that. Let's say I want to add a live guitar in that particular box. So my first track, I had a live drummer. Second one, I had a bass. The third one, I want to add a live guitar. I'm going to go to a live guitar box on the right. I'm going to touch live guitar. And I'm going to pick a live guitar from, let's see, in my folk category. I want to add number 6. I love this guitar. Okay, so you can hear the guitar now. A little bit louder, but we're going to get to that, right? I don't want that anymore. Change my mind. I want a nice electric guitar. Where are those electric guitars? Oh, I went to the wrong category. Yeah, I know. Go back to live guitar again. Go into where it says electric and hit electric number 6. Here we go. So you hear that, Linda, right? So this is, I'm just picking up different elements to mount this, okay, to build this particular rhythm I'm working with. Let me change the screen so you can see me here, all right? This is what I'm doing. I'm just picking and putting it in there. So we have the first one, we have the second one, we have 3 tracks running now, of which these are all audio, okay? If I change the chord, they're all following me, right? All the tracks are following me. If I change the chord, the live guitar is and the bass is following. Now, what if I want to add some strings? I got 12 tracks, I've used up 3. I can now go in there and touch this, and I want to add some nice strings to that. I'm going to go in and go to orchestral. I'm going to go into the ensemble category, and I can figure out what I want to add to this, right? Let's see, I turn the wheel around. I want to add, let's say, those strings. Slow and gentle, or this one. Okay, so let's leave it like that for now. Now, if you notice, the string volume is low, okay? So if I press exit, I go to this screen right here, right? You see the volume tab on the bottom right-hand side? I can touch that. And these correspond to the volumes of all the different parts. So I'm gonna touch the 4th box right there and bring up the string volume. I'm gonna touch the 2nd box and bring up the bass volume, right? Make it a little bit louder so I can actually spank. Can actually, you know, that slappy, spanky sound. Boom, boom. So I'm gonna do that. There we go. Again, if I change my chord, it follows me. See? So this is now coming out of this with the Launchpad. All right. Now let me get a little bit more creative. Okay, and I'm going to add a live audio guitar in there, right? So I had that going for me. I'm going to touch the next box, okay? And I'm going to go into where it says wave, and I'm going to look for a nice guitar to add in there. Let's see, which one do I have? I can go into, let's see. I'm going to turn this. I'm looking for something that has, I'm gonna make this interesting. Guitar D. Let's see how that guitar sounds, right? All right. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to change that. I want to add something else. We're getting somewhere. And Linda, thanks for that question, because this actually kind of pushes, you know, again, now you're not doing this on stage, of course. You're doing this when you're at home, right? Or in your basement or in your studio. So if you notice what I'm doing, I'm just changing the chords and the guitar is following what I'm doing. Now, this is where the audio and MIDI are working together, all right? I can, of course, speed it up. So I'm going to leave it at that, not to make it too long. All right, make it a little bit faster. Okay, so this is now my launch. I just made a pad up, all right, with different elements of the music. Okay, now let me see how I'm going to enhance this with the Yamaha. I'm going to come down to the Yamaha and I'm going to go back into those styles. I'm going to pick these over here. Correct. And I'm going to test these out on my multi-pads. I'm looking for the pad to use. I'm going to go into select. I want to select the pad that has the vocal parts. I'm going to go here to where it says vocal, and I'm going to pick, let's say, vocal chorus number 2. Again, when I load a pad group, it loads up 4 different pads for that particular group. So if I hit this right now, I have this. If I hit that, I have this. Now, let's try the bossa nova vocal, okay? No. Vocal chorus number 1. There we go. This sounds beautiful, right? This is exciting. Okay, so let me make it a little bit. Let's get crazy. Let's add doo-wops into this, right? No. Doo-wop swing. Let's see. No. That's actually off timing. Let's see here. So you see, this is what you're doing at home. Right now, I'm setting up the machine. I'm actually setting this up for a particular song. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go back to page 1 here. I think we're just going to use that one for now. Okay. So what you heard before was a KETRON. I'm going to now bring in the Yamaha as well. Okay, that's my first voice over there with the 1 touch. These are all the voices I'm using over here. I'm going to go into the voice category, strings. I'm going to search for a particular voice. Again, steel drum. Let's see, where pedal steel guitar, steel drum, search. Okay, good. And that's one good thing about the Yamaha too. You can actually search for independent or individual voices and it will tell you where that voice is located at. So let's see. I think I did the wrong thing. Let's go back into organ, pick that over there. I want to search for that voice here to be my lead voice. I'm going to go back to percussion and put the steel drum as my lead voice. Check the volume. This is nice. So again, this is an example of what I'm doing with the Launchpad. I'm setting everything up and I'm going to try and have it sound something like this. So I'm going to be having this coming out of here from the Yamaha, okay? And we're going to try and enhance this particular Launchpad that we just did thanks to the question that Linda had asked us. I'm going to go to volume. I want to make those drums a little bit louder. I'm going to go in and turn them up. So this is a merger of East and West, right? I'm having some Western sound and flavor with some Eastern sound and flavor put together, right? It's music. It's an international language. Let's see what we are going to come up with. those questions. There's a question from Linda about how to use Launchpad. That's just one way. Okay, there are several ways you can use a Launchpad. Of course, if you're happy with the way it's set up the way it is right now, you hit the save button and you save it as a Launchpad project. Save as, you can call it Linda for an example. Now, when you come to the gig or you come to the show, all you have to do is click on open and then click on wherever you stored it, right? So I'm going to leave you with this song that I just started playing already, but this was using different parts of the pad. So thank you all again. We're trying to keep this, again, we're at 1 hour 30. So, but I'm glad you all had a nice time. You all stayed in tune, which means you had a nice time as well. We're going to be on live again next Thursday, okay? So this was a very, very nice program, our first on the National Telegraph African platform. We'd like to say thank you to the CEO of that particular forum. And we're going to leave you all with this song that we're doing right now. So thank you all, and see you all again next week. Have a happy weekend. And like I said before, go out there and help one another.